For your first watercolor painting this week, we'll only be using black and white, actually just black. This will help you to understand some of the watercolor techniques and not have to worry about how your colors are turning out and things like that. So I wanted to do a painting of a black cat. I looked up the picture, and this is how you use source images. So I tried looking up a picture of a black cat, but I couldn't see a lot of the details in the cat. So I looked up a picture of a white cat, and that allows me to see a lot more of the shading and where everything is. So I've lightly drawn my picture on here. You can barely see it. So when you're drawing, people who are watercolor purists will not use pencil first. They'll just use watercolor. But I know that makes a lot of people nervous. So I lightly drew my cat on here with the watercolor. So now I'm going to get my clean water, and I'm going to get some black, and again you just tickle it, and I can check to see how dark it is. And I'm using a small brush, so I'm going to start by kind of drawing out on dry paper. So I'm using a kind of thicker paper. If you're using copy paper, it does become tricky because the paper can't really handle it. So I'm kind of drawing out my outline. Now the thing about watercolor painting is you're actually building up. You start kind of lighter than you think it should be. Now again, if I do something that's I think is too dark, I can come with some water and sort of spread it out, or I can use where I clean this and I suck up some of the stuff. So I make sure that you have enough water. If you don't have enough water, you'll notice that it'll start to. So I'm just using water right now to kind of spread out and get some of my value change here. So you can pick up some of the watercolor you already put down with just straight water and kind of blend it out to get your different shading going on. So let's say around the eyes here, let me try the eyes here, color those in. And you have to be very careful where you want to leave something white, that you make sure that you actually leave it white. Okay. So you kind of blend it out a little bit. Now the tricky thing here is that you're only going to be using, so that's too dark, I'm going to just spread that out so it's not so dark. So make sure you leave your white areas white. One way to do it is to put tape down. So for instance, one thing I could do for the whiskers on the cat is put thin strips of masking tape, cut them down. Now I want the this other part of the eye not to be as dark as the center part. So I'm going to water down my paint here. Still too dark. But now that I have the media on there, I can sort of spread it around. So the tricky part here is going to be leaving the areas that you want it to be light. Now you say, well, it's a black cat, I could just color it in all black. Well, I don't want it to be. I want it to have the dimensions, the shadows, and everything on my cat. So I'm not going to just paint the whole thing. I want to have all these different values in it. That's why I looked up the picture of the white cat to do this. And so I just start adding the watercolor to it, spreading it around to get the right thing going.